Hey guys, how are you? My name is VaulSC. We're going to take a look at a game of infiNity between the O12, the SpacePolice, and the Caledonian Highlander Army, the Scots of Ariadne. And it's going to be on the mission Decapitation. Note that we're in the new season now, season 11 I think we're up to, and Decapitation hasn't changed all that much, but bear in mind that in the previous season there was a bit of a mistake, a misprint of the mission where the Spanish version didn't translate to English correctly, and people were going around, getting 5 victory points for killing the designated target with the data tracker. In the correct version, you only get 3, and that is actually correct in the new edition of the mission. So O12 versus Caledonia up against my buddy Jono. What we're going to do is we're going to go straight into the army lists, which I have reconstructed. So we'll start with my list here. Last game I played with him, I had quite a lot of orders. I still have quite a lot of orders. I've toned it down a little bit by dropping it down to only 2 Varangians. And there's a couple of things in there that I didn't take last time. I now have the double gangbuster setup, so we're going to give that a go. Hopefully the adhesive mad traps are going to be useful against all of those raging Scot berserkers. But going through it, a serious spot still in there. For lack of a better fast attack piece, this is something I want to be using when I'm taking first turn and trying to kill their designated target and rip up a lot of random warbands. A doctor, of course, going to be needed to revive the Upsilon multi-sniper. Dakini TacBot HMG, really good, solid choice if you're going for that larger, more robust list with more orders. If you're going for the more compact elite list, then maybe the Gamma or the Omega or even the Upsilon HMG is the way to go. A couple of Varangians, as long as you've got at least 2, you're doing fine. You're going to have plenty of smoke. 4 is better, but wanted to save a few points. Gangbuster, so we've got the one with the light riot stopper, quite like that one, as well as the specialist gangbuster. Note that this mission, Decapitation, isn't going to need a lot of button pressing, so I'm not going to necessarily need both profiles. And although I didn't know which faction I was going to be going up against, my opponent plays a lot of Nomads and Caledonians. Wasn't sure whether he'd be killing my killer hackers or not, but I've got one of each profile. Alpha Lieutenant, didn't take him last time. This is something I've been able to afford by downgrading the number of extra cheerleaders I've had. But in place of that, I get a guy who provides 2 orders to the list and allows him to put in 2 reserve troopers, and it can be quite defensible. Note, though, that this is a mission where you get a lot of objective points for killing the enemy lieutenant, and because he's got a really big ass, he's got a big butt like a silhouette 4 sticking out there when he's prone, he can be more easy to assassinate, so just be careful about that. 1 Flush Pulse, 1 Minesweeper, a cut down on the cheerleaders a little bit there. The Delta Boarding Shotgun Panzerfaust, still really keen to play this profile over a large number of games. As I said in the last video, the Delta can drop somewhere and get a good kill with his boarding shotgun, but if he misses and he scatters off the table, you've still got a long-range gun, which you can use with the Panzerfaust, and I really like that. Also, you may be able to drop down behind enemy lines and have a big cross-map shot along the deployment zone towards something important with the Panzerfaust, can actually get them in the back. Taking a TR bot this time, we'll see how it goes. I just felt the need for another thing to benefit from assisted fire that wasn't too expensive and helps, later in the game. Also can be quite useful if you've got the Dakini on one side of the deployment zone and the HMG on the other, potentially. You don't have to relocate too much before gunning something down in the distance that's an ARO piece. Monstrucker as usual, Kappa as usual, and the Fort Observer Kappa, that's there just to try out the new Liason Officer rules where you get an additional point for having them there. For this mission, after I played the game, I realized maybe it's not really worth it because if you're only getting 1 point out of them, and the mission's really about that big swing of 3 points or even 4 points, depending on whether you're winning on army points or killing the lieutenant, that 1 point's not going to make that much difference. Warcore in there as well because Journalist Level 1 allows you to potentially get a point for the Concillium Watch. So there's that. My opponent playing a pretty solid CHA list. He's played these guys enough now and maybe has taken a page out of my book after I did a video about CHA about what to have. Everything here is just cherry-picked for efficiency. I'm not too sure if I've reconstructed the groups accurately, but here's roughly what's in his list. APHMG Highlander Grey, stock standard, or all the volunteers in the link, nice and cheap, one specialist in there. Cataran T2 sniper rifle, nothing wrong with that. Walker obviously with the journo ability and becomes regular thanks to William Wallace. Scott missile launcher, just really solid. It's a camo missile launcher for not too many points, and this is something that CHA don't really get to see much of otherwise, unless you do take this profile. Doctor, a couple of SAS Fort Observers, Oxy McNeil, McMurray, all the Highlanders. Look, this is just a textbook CHA list in my view. This is optimal, really. It's hard to write a better list with this sort of stuff. Okay, Decapitation. So both players will have a designated target somewhere. You get 3 points if you kill it using your data tracker altogether. If you only just kill it with any other model, you get less. 4 points for killing the lieutenant, or more lieutenants I should say. 3 points for more army kills. And I think there's A classified, I can't quite remember. Playing again on my new table sort of setup, you can see that there are some really big hard and fast total cover areas like this. Some walls which we're counting as infinitely high, but there's enough angle really that you can get a lot of really long shots. So if I just grab a different color, for example, there's a really long lane of fire through this bit here. There's also a very long lane of fire through here, and another really long lane of fire through because there's a door there. So there's ways that you can take advantage of a sniper rifle, missile launcher, HMG, that kind of thing. This is a look from my deployment zone. I'll just pick out where everything is from left to right. So here's my deployment. We've got the liaison officer guy here, the Kappa Fort Observer, one gangbuster there, and he's got a couple of crazy koalas, mad traps, and my designated targets in there. It may be very vulnerable to McMurray spec firing with a grenade, but at least it's behind this total cover wall, so there's that. TR bot over here, just again defending the designated target a little bit, but also has a long line through this bit if he comes after my lieutenant, which is over here. Monstrucker there, Dakini HMG, Minesweeper bot, Walker with a bit of an aero line through this section of the table. Varangian Guard, note that we're deploying 16 inches up because special rules of the scenario. That's also why the gangbusters are up a bit further forward. There's a Kappa hacker over here, I think it is. A doctor around here because I'm planning on putting my Upsilon there with reserve trooper benefits. That was the Kappa lieutenant, sorry, the Alpha lieutenant. Flash pulse spot there. There's another Varangian in the corner, gangbuster in the room with a couple of mad traps as well. So that's the deployment spread out along the table. Close-ups, left-hand flank. You can see the people in position here. This is the middle. There's the lieutenant prone. Hopefully this setup provides enough cover, but I'm just worried about this little doorway here getting line of sight to him. A look from the right-hand side, you can see the gangbuster down bottom right, and the doctor through over here. And of course, that sniper, Upsilon sniper, is going to deploy here and take advantage of this really long fire lane through this angle. And also through the door as well, he's got another really long sniping lane, so that's going to be optimal for him. Close-up shot of my beautiful Dakini HMG, and then we're going to move over to my opponent's stuff. So, his right-hand flank, let's have a look at it. So, Walker at the back, he's going to have his missile launcher next to it through there after my reserve troopers go down. McMurray prone through here, he's going to have plenty of speed to move up later. SAS there, and another SAS, sorry, this model's actually Uxie McNeil, sorry, so that's Uxia. This SAS is not deployed as a marker because he's going to be the liaison officer, so he's just out of camo. Galwegian, another Galwegian over here. In fact, I think he's got 4 altogether. That's the designated target in the middle of the table. It's further towards the center. And in the back, bringing up the rear, so we've got William Wallace just hiding in the corner because he doesn't want to die, lieutenant points and all. Cataran there, covering a fair sweep of the table. The link team, Grey Rifle, Volunteer, and the Doctor in the corner, and the other SAS on the left-hand flank. That's quite good because it blocks off drop trooper landing space. Okay, and extreme left-hand corner, there's another Galwegian right at the back, ready to move up and throw down some smoke. My reserve trooper, the wonderful Upsilon sniper with a really long fire lane, and the Doctor right next to him. And my other reserve trooper, the Sirius team, up through to the middle of the table, ready to go after his designated target and really crush that 3 points right off the bat. However, his reserve trooper is going to be, once he sees this, a missile launcher on the other side of the table. And the missile launcher will unfortunately be set up there, and it will have a line of fire through here, meaning that as soon as I move out with these guys, I could get hit by a missile. And as soon as he puts that camera marker down, I know what it is. Like, I know what kind of play that is. It's not going to be a Cataran, right? So that creates a problem, but in my first turn, I could move out and block that fire lane with this Varangian guard here. So that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be coming around here, throwing a smoke grenade in this gap. The missile launcher is there. You can sort of see the silhouette poking out, and it's going to be able to fire through this lane. Unfortunately, though, at that spot up there, there is going to be a Cataran shooting at my Varangian as he swings around. So that's going to be the first obstacle. The other Varangian on the other side of the table, using Impetuous to roll up past this gangbuster here. And now, the Cataran sprung. So this isn't too bad. It means that although my Varangian may get shot here, the Sirius team can now go after the Cataran correctly and wipe him out. Cataran ballistic skill 12, so he's going to be hitting on a 15. In fact, is that correct? Cataran ballistic skill 12, yep, hitting on a 15, whereas the smoke throw is going to be on a 17. So I've got a small advantage there. I might not actually lose my Varangian at all. So he's moving out, trying to throw the grenade. Initially, this doesn't go off, and both of us fail to sort of achieve what we want to. But then under the second attempt, the smoke does go down. That's actually not quite happened, sorry. So after moving out and having the first attempt at the smoke throw, after he reveals himself, I'm realizing, okay, rather than continuing to pump orders into the Varangian guard, what if I just shoot the Cataran with something? And I'm looking at Group 2's orders and looking at the TR bot, and I'm thinking, okay, I could move him up and kill him. So assisted fire goes down onto the TR bot after spending one order on the TR bot to move it in range of this minesweeper over here, because it's got a repeater. Then after the assisted fire goes down on him, he continues to move up, and we're able to try and light up this guy here, okay? That's the Cataran in the distance. I've moved from this direction so that I make it to cover first, and then pop around behind cover, and I'm able to shoot. So TR bot is firing with assisted fire at a correct range band. And what have we got here for the Cataran? He's got mimetism and limited camouflage. So I'll be hitting on 11s on 4 dice, and the Cataran shooting back 12 on 1 dice. So the odds of killing the Cataran really are in favor of the TR bot quite significantly. But unfortunately, frustratingly, my opponent simply rolls a crit right off the bat, which is, you know, quite demoralizing, and a lot of people don't like crits for this reason. But it's infinity. We've signed up to play this game. We accept that, and I have to try and not get tilted. I was frustrated, but looking at that, spending all those orders, assisted fire going down, all the orders to get in position, TR bot simply just gets hit and goes unconscious, which is sad. So thinking about my position, I realized that if I move up the Monstrucker and revive him, I won't really have any more orders to keep shooting with the TR bot. But the TR bot, it's better if it gets revived, because then it can actually control a little bit of the midfield and can trade for some of the warbands. Plus, getting the Monstrucker up there means that I can lay down some drop bears later as well. So moving in with the Monstrucker, I did eventually get to the point where I revived the TR bot, but no more orders to continue attacking the Cataran, so not great. What I decided to do next was take a small risk and move the Varangian out again and throw the smoke grenade again, just to try and beat him, and luckily I did. You know, 17 versus, I think, 12 at this point, because he's inside of the 16 range band. Varangian does manage to win it. So now what I can do is move my Sirius team up, and this is the data tracker, mind you. He has chosen McMurray as his data tracker, and we can now move out and try and score. We need to note also that the designated target's on the other side of this this wall. So now that the smoke blocks off the line from the missile launcher, we can pop out the Sirius member here and fire at the designated target. Note though that there is a Cataran still alive up there, and I can also hang out with my my riot bot towards the edge of the smoke. So moving in, and we're moving the Varangian up first, just beyond the smoke. And the plan is to try and trade with the Cataran with the chain rifle. Now, I believe what happens here is that this bot moves out, doesn't get targeted by the missile launcher when this happens later on, because he doesn't want to reveal. The Varangian has somehow failed to actually shoot and kill what it needed to, so the Sirius members move out now. I think we did get the Cataran at some point, but I'm a bit hazy about which order actually caused that. So I'm keeping the bot on the edge of the smoke because I want to use him later. I don't want to give the missile launcher a free shot just yet. And the Sirius team moving out to fire at the at the designated target, and also the Cataran at the same time, I think it was. I can't 100% remember. All I do remember is that the designated target didn't go down on the first try, but after a little bit of playing around with it, I did manage to kill him. And the Cataran is also rendered unconscious, I believe, by the Varangian guard at some point. I do remember him going unconscious, so it can't be due to the Red Fury. Next up, the plan was to move out 6 inches with this guy, hope to bait out the missile launcher, and then move out here and shoot the missile launcher with the Red Fury in the optimal range band. He doesn't take the bait, which allows me to move around this side and avoid the missile launcher's lane of fire. So next up, moving the bot into range of the Galwegian, and my hope here is that he chain rifles me and that I fire the riot stopper at him and that he is glued to the ground, because he's got no engineer to revive that. I wouldn't get points out of him and he'd still generate the order, but having less Galwegians go after me in the midfield, the better. So he does chain rifle me, and to my annoyance, he does roll a crit, an 8, which anything less than an 8 though would have also done it, to avoid the adhesive ammunition. And of course I fail my armor save on the bot and the bot is destroyed. So again, a bit of bad luck. Generally this first turn's going quite frustratingly. There was the crit, which is the major thing, the serious team not doing very well with the Red Fury or the Riot Stopper in general, and now we just continue. So at this point, I'm moving through with, so you can see the Cataran unconscious, moving around here with the serious guy. He's trying to get line of sight to this member of the fire team. If I can knock one member down now, that's -1 order, and he's going to be less effective with his grey rifle later in the game because he'll only have a 4-man link. The Galwegian in the corner throwing a smoke defensively, so he's not destroyed, but the serious does manage to take out this volunteer because it's only got like a chain rifle and a light shotgun. Then we move around here, and this is quite important. So I've moved, so I've destroyed this volunteer over there, and then I've moved in this way with the serious team, and it's going to fire at this Galwegian. So I'm going to need 12s on 5 dice. He's going to need a 17 on 1 dice, I think it is. But really want to kill this Galwegian because this is a sacrificial play. I'm going to be losing my serious at the end of the turn, but I want to take as many orders with me, and I want to stop him from having too many warbands in the midfield, which will cause me problems. Unfortunately, the Galwegian survives again, and the serious does nothing, so that was, again, irritating. Lastly, pulling through here and having another go at this volunteer. It's got shotguns and chain rifles and blah blah blah. I'm firing at it with my Red Fury and just not even killing it, which again was painful. It was an extremely unlucky first turn, which tilted me quite a lot. The serious member goes unconscious in my turn, so he doesn't even have to spend any orders going after it to kill it. Very, very painful. And the Varangian that I still had alive moving behind this obstacle just to make him a bit more survivable and a bit more annoying with his chain rifle. So that was pretty bad, and we go on to Caledonia in turn 1. So very frustrating first turn, very unlucky first turn, and it had me feeling pretty shit because taking first turn in Decapitation, you generally want to do quite well. We should note that if I'd wanted to, I could have synchronized civilian with the civilian here and walked it back to my deployment zone. And honestly, that would have been the better play. That would have been the smarter thing to do. So although I've been pretty unlucky, I maybe have not chosen the best strategy and tactics for this particular turn. And now he has an opportunity to send McNamara over to this model and kill it. Note that had the first turn gone a bit luckier, I probably could have actually worked my way around and even shot McMurray, or at least defended better against him here. But I had to spend a lot of orders repositioning and re-attempting things that I didn't want to re-attempt. Okay, so impetuous moves from these Galwegians don't bring them into any considerable line of sight other than maybe a walker, which they're able to shrug off. Likewise for this guy at the back, moving towards the link team, there's the Varangian behind this, the group of crates. We have the Warcore right at the back here. This is trying to shoot its flash pulse at this guy as he moves in, doesn't successfully take him out. And now you notice what's about to happen is that the warbands are going to come around here, fire their chain rifles at our Monstrucker and our TR bot, and that's going to be a pretty bad position for them to be in. Note that as he moves forward, there's been a smoke grenade going down and the mad traps are going off. So the gangbuster sitting there, mad traps swinging in onto the Galwegian before he does any damage. But annoyingly, he's passing his dodges, passing his physical checks, and nothing's really dealing with these Galwegians, which, as you can imagine, pretty frustrating. Game going pretty badly. He then attempts an intuitive attack through the smoke here onto these boys, fails the first attempt, and his argument is that although you can't continue attempting to intuitive attack one model, I believe, if you fail an attempt, you could always just pick a different model and still catch them both with a template, which is legal. So he's attacking here. This does manage to destroy the TR bot. I do fire back with my Monstrucker, and that is able to knock him unconscious or dog it or whatever may happen. But the TR bot does go down, and the Monstrucker is able to dodge or guts back behind this bit of cover. He's then thinking of moving his SAS. He asked if he could stand up, but we figured that the Upsilon Sniper actually had position to this corner if he did stand up, so he's just crawling along here instead. Then we're moving out with McMurrough a little bit, and another one of his Galwegians over here. This Galwegian is able to walk around into close combat with my Varangian guard, so that's probably what happens next. There it is there, so he's just coming through to lock this guy up in close combat. Everything moving towards him, as you can see, like magnets. And then, of course, with this smoke grenade right here, McMurrough is able to move out and, unfortunately for me, throw his spec fire grenades onto my designated target. So that's going to pick him up 3 points and make the game tied at 3 points each. And sadly, it's also going to go after my Gangbuster, so not a very well considered position by me. Gangbuster's getting hit here, and with the sheer number of orders that he's got to use, he does kill a designated target, and he does kill the Gangbuster, so that is quite painful. We also have a Galwegian coming over towards my Monstrucker. The Monstrucker does somehow manage to shrug this off. I can't exactly remember how this play actually panned out. I think he moved around, came into line of sight of something that was going to shoot him, and then decided to take the move back, something like that. Can't 100% remember. His Doctor just poking out a little bit and firing a long-range medikit shot at the Cataran to revive him, just in case he can get him, but fails to hit. Yeah, so just coming back to this position, I believe that the Galwegian was going to come around the corner but decided against it. Either that or we managed to shoot him. Just a bit hazy about what happened in that part of the game, but I do remember that the Monstrucker managed to survive that, whatever it was. So we're coming back to my turn, and what's happening here is that the Monstrucker is able to repair the TR bot again, and I've decided to spend Group 2's orders to move the TR bot back to safety. And that is again because it's going to defend this line which cuts off to my lieutenant, and if he sends a link team that way, that'll be helpful. But also at this range here, if McMurrough comes through, I might at least be able to defend a little bit, forcing him to smoke a pathway through and just generally slow him down. But also covering these two models on this building, the SAS and Uxie McNeil, if they try and jump or climb down, the TR bot's going to be there. So I figure that's a much better position for him to be in. That's Group 2. Group 1, though, we've put assisted fire into this Dakini. Now, the Dakini is planning on spending the entire turn's orders just making a run around here and getting some shots off and hopefully killing McMurrough. Unfortunately, the missile launcher is going to see down this alleyway to him, and it might be long range for me, which is pretty bad. So moving through here, initially we thought we had range or line of sight, but the line of sight actually comes out to this point, so he couldn't have actually seen him there, but we rolled the dice anyway, so he fires his missile launcher. It did turn out to be long range, so this is a bit of a miscalculation by me. Dakini TAC bot hitting on like 5s or something like that, long range and cover and camo, probably even worse than that. So Dakini TAC bot not really succeeding, but luckily for me, and thanks to mimetism, the missile launcher also misses. So what I can do then is move the other Varangian from the right-hand flank over to put a smoke grenade on the TAC bot so it can then move past and get some more work done. So indeed doing that, we're just crossing over the smoke to where this doorway is, and there's a Galwegian in the distance. We can light him up with the assisted fire, of course, shock ammunition and all. That's able to destroy him, and then continue moving around. Just going to show you where that angle was. There's Dakini there, fires through at this guy. We're going to ignore the close combat here, nothing to do there, but Dakini is eventually going to want to walk around here and get to a point where it can engage the missile launcher at an optimal range band. So that's indeed what's happening. We also have smoke grenades going down. What I was initially going to do is I was going to walk the Dakini right around the other side of the table and shoot at William Wallace. I actually want to see if I can show you guys a better photo of what I mean by that. Where is a really good shot of his deployment? Here it is here. So what I was thinking of doing at that point in the turn is moving the Dakini TACbot to this position around here, around his flank, and then spending a single short skill to move to this point here, and that would have triggered an ARO from his SAS as I walked past, and probably members of his link team as well. But if I could just get one volley through here, just feeling like I'm losing at this point, if I could get one volley through to William Wallace, if I could cut around his smoke grenades and actually beat him, it would only take one hit to destroy him because he's got NWI, I've got shock, and that would mean I get +4 objective points for killing enemy lieutenant, and that would really put me in the lead. But seeing that I was going to be planning that, once I moved around there, he decided to throw a smoke grenade using his Galwegian, and he did sort of a backwards angle smoke because he had a Galwegian like here, so he threw it over to this point and landed the smoke in front of William Wallace, which was a way of thwarting my plans. So I do want to just point that out, that happened. Let's come back to where we were. So as you can see, that's what the position was. This is the Galwegian I'm talking about. I shoot him with a Dakini for free, fires a smoke grenade over here. William Wallace is safe up the top. I'm pretty sure you guys are able to follow that. So Dakini now moving through, and what he's able to do at this point is move out towards this spot, and there's the missile launcher there. And this is quite good for me because I'll be in the optimal range band. +3 for range, ignoring cover, -3 for mimetism, hitting on 11s on 4 dice. He'll just be hitting on a 9, I think, at 0 range band, -3 for mimetism. So that goes quite well for me. I'm able to kill his missile launcher with the Dakini TACbot there. Then continuing to move through, and this is really the heart of the play, moving around here, moving through to here, getting a shot onto McMurray, and beautifully this is going to go into the back. McMurray is so hard to kill because of total immunity, armor 4, 2 wounds, but shooting him in the back means it's just going to be pure armor saves until he turns around. So luckily, shooting him first does take a wound, on 1 and 2 wounds, but only got 1, but then able to shoot at him again and kill him, which is really what we were going for. So here's the spot, McMurray hit in the back with the HMG, and we can move on. Blam, 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 blam. And there's the unconscious marker going down on him, or even just the wound marker, can't quite remember which. Dakini also moving around to take this guy out, and the more of these Galwegians we can hit with our shock HMG, the better, but sadly they have high fizz, the smoke grenades are going off, and that's thwarted again. Coming back to my opponent, this is going to be his turn 2 now that I've run out of orders with the Dakini, and the impetuous order goes off. These guys have a big broadsword battle, both berserking into each other, both putting each other dogged, and nothing more needed there. Doesn't need to spend any orders on them at this point. We've got a smoke grenade going down, but then my opponent realizing, if he moves past a certain angle, there's going to be an Upsilon sniper which can actually see through here, defending my Dakini, so that's going to be quite painful for him. He does it anyway, and what we're able to do is really just cautious move past the Upsilon, or just even ignore the Upsilon, and just walk in and berserk him, so that's going to take out the Dakini quite well. And then he's deciding to move out with his link team. He's got a 4-man link team, and he's going to be going after the big prize. That's the heart of my army, the lieutenant, the Upsilon sniper, and everything. So moving through to the middle of the table, plenty of orders to spend on them, and the plan is to move up to this corner and engage the Upsilon sniper first. Just get rid of him with the HMG. It's a grey rifle. He's going to be Blister Skill 13, if I recall correctly. Doesn't have the 5-man link. The range band's going to be decent. He's going to have 5 dice. Mimetism's going to be there, but even on 10s at 5 dice, he's got a pretty good go at it. My Upsilon sniper will either be 13s. Yeah, he will be 13s, so 1 dice 13 versus 5 dice on 10s. Pretty good opportunity for the grey rifle. So here he is here, coming around, blasting me with the Upsilon sniper. And I decided to go for a tactic that I have just started to theorize about that is actually a pretty good tactic, and that is to fire a stun round, not a double action round. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. If you're in a position where your opponent's got more orders to spend on something that's attacking, that's about to just really crush your line, and if a double action round is unlikely to completely remove that enemy model, and if that enemy model's got good odds in the face-to-face rolls, the double action round might be better to stop a push and just blunt it to prevent him doing any more damage. Because if you fire the double action round and he lives, that's great. You got the damage done, but if it just keeps attacking you again, the chances are you'll just start losing your model. But if you stunned him, yes, he'd be able to run away and he'd still have his model, but you wouldn't lose any more stuff. So that's what I opted to do, and luckily, I rolled a crit this time. So after all of my whining and swearing about my first turn going really badly, he now runs into a bit of bad luck himself. I think in general, overall, considering all the dice rolls in this game, I managed to get unluckier than him, and we'll see some more of that later in the game. But this definitely was bad luck for my opponent, and as he said after the game, the shit winds were blowing strong in both directions. So this, unfortunately, stops me from losing. I'm not going to lose my lieutenant now. The volunteers are never going to be able to take on the Upsilon sniper. The range is too long, their ballistic skill's too low, so he has to really just retreat and pull back. Spinning a few more orders, so you can see them out there in the midfield, just looking a bit embarrassed. Medikit Doctor firing again at the Cataran and still missing every single time he attempts that roll. It's long range, he's got pretty low ballistic skill as it is, and just nothing happening with it. There he is, trying and trying again. So, Grey Rifle and boys and girls just coming back home, and not quite all the way home, just sitting up behind this green stack of crates. So there they are there in this long line, and there's 4 of them, and they can wait till next turn after his stun goes away. Also going prone, he's standing up, so if anybody comes around the side, at least the Grey Rifle and the Chain Rifles can all go off. Righty, so I believe we come back closer to my turn. I've got an impetuous move with the Varangian Guard here. Dakini's already been lost, Sirius is down. What have I got left? Well, I do have a Delta. So putting down assisted fire, I figured what I could do is I could go land there, where this model can't have line of sight to me because of the white crate, and the volunteer team doesn't quite have line of sight to me because of the white crate. And if I can land this successfully, what I can do is I can poke out here, fire the boarding shotgun into this guy, and that's going to go off on the whole team, basically. Maybe not that model at the back, but the boarding shotgun stands a pretty good chance of eliminating 2 volunteers and running the Grey into dogged state, and that will cause him to die at the end of the turn, which will mean I net myself a big wad of points, which will be useful for Decapitation, and I stop him from having much left to attack me in his final turn. So again, 75% chance of this happening because of controlled jump. My opponent doesn't have a hacker, but sadly that roll has failed and the Delta scatters, which is a shame. It also means that he may be able to pick up the points for my Delta now without me doing much more damage. The Delta scatters towards his deployment zone. So it starts around here, scatters over to here, right in front of his War Corps, which is kind of painful, but there are worse places that could have scattered to. It's in the back arc of the Galwegian, so if I'm just able to survive this, I could possibly pick off his Galwegian and just stick around for a bit. Luckily, I do manage to survive the flash pulse at close range. So Delta moving back behind total cover, firing at the Galwegian in the back with the boarding shotgun, hoping to at least put him dogged, and we're not really caring about the flash pulse at this point because it won't actually destroy the Delta and I can actually save the points. You might notice I've put a little bit of paint on him. I think he's looking really cool. Unfortunately for me though, the boarding shotgun has no effect on the Galwegian in the back whatsoever, and the flash pulse goes off again onto the Delta, so it's been a pretty unlucky Delta. You've got to say though that the play was pretty good, the idea was pretty good, and the profile chosen here is still a pretty good profile for what we're trying to achieve here. Monstrucker just hiding back a bit, firing long range, no, just considering it, but no, I'm not really doing anything. Upsilon Sniper repositioning. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be going after a member of his team. So moving out, moving out, moving out. And the plan here with the Upsilon Sniper is to fire at one of his... so first of all, the Upsilon Sniper can fire long range at the Galwegian in the distance. That's easily going to be able to kill him with the sniper. And then we can pull around to a member of his link team. And this is the play that I'm going for this turn. So he's come around here. And there's a volunteer. Again, if I can shoot that volunteer, that's one less order that he can use. Next turn to kill me, it's going to net me a little bit of points, and yeah, his link team's just going to be that much less effective. But unfortunately, I get lucky yet again, and my opponent just rolls a crit. Like, just straight up rolls a crit. Long-range light shotgun has terrible odds to kill me, and it's just a crit. The Upsilon dies. So generally getting very unlucky this game, more so than I usually get in an average game. I do have a Doctor though, so the Doctor moving out. Note that I've selected the wrong model. It was supposed to be this. Was the model I said was the Hacker, but they're both equally distant to this, distant to the doorway. So we just replaced the models, and I still spent the right number of orders. Going up here, firing the medikit, and fortunately the Upsilon is revived, so that's a little bit of luck coming back in my direction, although it doesn't make up for the fact that I just got crit. Because this takes a bunch of orders, right, and it puts me in a precarious position I wouldn't have wanted to be in. Upsilon now moving back, firing at that volunteer. I do believe I managed to kill him, but I didn't have enough movement to get back into total cover, and we've got an Upsilon sniper just hanging out in the midfield. Elsewhere, moving in with the TR bot, I've got one more in group 2 just to cut off this long lane of fire. The last thing I want to have happen is for him to barge in here with a bunch of guys and just shoot all my models who are out in the open, so trying to defend a little bit. Lieutenant's still okay. I did replace the correct model. That's supposed to be the Doctor there. That's the Hacker there. So the correct model's in the right position. And lastly, Gangbuster moving up closer to this doorway, the crucial, strategic location with the mad traps, just to deter things from coming towards this doorway and going after my very vulnerable Upsilon sniper. My opponent, yet again, in his last turn, trying for the medikit onto the Cataran, still continuing to miss. He brings out Uxie McNeil, which was on this building, comes around here, fires at the Delta in the back, blasts him with 2 assault pistols. So I do lose my Delta, 23 points down the drain. He could have collected so many more, but it was not to be. And then Link Team moving back over to the Cataran sniper, and the paramedic going into base contact, using his paramedic jizz gun, whatever he does with it, and takes the Cataran out of unconscious state. So him passing quite a crucial role there at Fizz -3, getting a bit lucky to revive him. Then the SAS moving out to fire at my Varangian. The Varangian is Fizz 14 with the smoke, so it does put the smoke down to protect everybody. And of course, the Upsilon's feeling a lot better now that there's a smoke grenade next to the door. And that pretty much concludes the game. So we both picked up 3 points from killing each other's designated targets. We didn't get lieutenants. It just came down to army points, and it actually worked out quite close. We found that by the end of the game, had my opponent not revived that Cataran, I would have won. But because he did revive the Cataran, he won. That's how close it was. But it was an entertaining game. I hope you guys liked it. The thing about this game is that I did get really, really unlucky. If a couple of those things had gone a bit better for me, I would have won quite easily. But having said that, there are perhaps a couple of things that I did wrong as well. I could have spent more effort bringing my designated target to safety, considering I had first turn. I might have found some other way of killing his designated target. Maybe there were some errors on my list. I didn't even use my Fort Observer Kappa, designated target, liaison officer rather. So there's more I can do. But again, it's a combination of skill and luck in this game. Not in equal amounts, but they're both factors. So we're always going to bear that in mind at all times. Still enjoying O12 though. Hopefully we'll have some more elite, smaller compact lists to try out soon. And hopefully you guys stick around for them.